So hello everyone, welcome to the video. Now as you know that clinical trial are one of the most fundamental aspect when it comes to drug approval and bringing cutting edge medical technology and treatment into the wider population. For that it is very important for you to conduct a clinical trial and for which you require participation in clinical trial. But when it comes to participation, we face a lot of challenges in understanding what exactly are the advantages and disadvantages of participating in clinical trial and whether you should be participating in clinical trial. So in this particular video, we are going to look at all the advantages and disadvantages of participating in clinical trial, and after which you are going to be able to evaluate how clinical trial can benefit to you and what are the risks and inconveniences involved in participation of clinical trial. Without further ado, let's start. So first and foremost, when it comes to participation of clinical trial, everyone looks at safety. So whether there are any laws which ensure the subject safety. So there are certainly guidelines to ensure subject safety, and as per ICH GCP, we have fundamental principle. Okay, so principle which includes risk versus benefit. So it clearly states that before a trial is initiated, all foreseeable risk and inconveniences should be weighed against the anticipated benefits. Okay, and that particular benefit in the interest of the trial subject and society. Okay, the trial which is being conducted should be only initiated if the risk justify the benefit. Okay, so no amount of clinical trial will be conducted on you if the benefits are more than the risk. Okay, the investigator, the pharma company will always ensure, the regulatory authority, the ethics committee will always ensure the risk versus benefit ratio is properly calculated, and then and only then you can conduct a clinical trial. The next fundamental principle, according to ICH GCP, is the trial participant safety. So all the rights, safety, and well-being of the trial participant are one of the most significant criteria when it comes to conduct of clinical trial, and that should prevail over the interest of science and society. So clinical trial does not mean experimentation on you, but it will always mean the betterment of medical treatment, and your safety will take precedence over the interest of science as well as the society. Okay, so when it comes to risk benefit ratio, when it comes to trial participation, so there are significant safety criteria involved in the core of clinical trial conduct, so you do not have to worry about your safety. Clinical trial are safe and your participation shall be ensured that you have proper amount of benefits through the clinical trial and proper amount of safety. Now let us understand what are the advantages when it comes to participation in clinical trial. The first advantages is early access. So you can be among the first people to try potentially life-saving treatment, which is not yet widely available. And that we see day in, day out with cancer subjects. There are a lot of cancer oncology-based clinical trial where they get treatment which is free of cost, and they also have cutting-edge medical technology being given to them. Even if you see in terms of COVID-19 vaccine, before the vaccine was released to the general public, it was in clinical trial, and whichever people participated in clinical trial, they were among the first to be immunized. Okay, so that is the advantage of participation. The next advantage is expert care. So whenever you are in a clinical trial, you are closely monitored, your health is closely monitored by the best healthcare professional and doctors throughout the trial period, so your safety is taken care of. The next advantage would be the deep understanding. So through the clinical trial, you would get valuable insight for your health condition, because in the clinical trial at regular intervals you would have your blood sample testing, you would have your physicals, vitals, and the entire health history, and that will ensure that you will get valuable insight for your health, and they will ensure that you're safe, and that in-depth testing and close monitoring will definitely benefit to you to understand what kind of health situation are you in. So that is again one of the advantages of participation in clinical trial. The last advantage would be the medical progress. So we have to ensure that we contribute towards the science and society, and when it comes to clinical trial, it is one of the most noble gesture that you can do to the progress of medical care and cutting edge medical technology. So whenever you participate in clinical trial, you contribute in advancing the medical knowledge and improving treatment option for the future. So all those people who participate in COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial, who risk their life, so we owe thank you to them, so that they were the one, the brave hearts who got the into the clinical trial, and through which the data was generated and we were able to get vaccinated. So medical progress and your voluntary contribution, that is also one of the advantages that you can have when it comes to participation in clinical trial. Now, with the advantages, there are also disadvantages of participation in clinical trial. Now, let us understand them one by one. The first disadvantage is potential side effect. Now, like any other medical treatment, trials can definitely have side effect, and it is very important to understand the risk versus benefit before making a decision on participation. So, whenever you go to participate in a clinical trial, the study investigator would definitely explain you what are the kind of side effect that you can expect. Okay, what are the risk versus the benefits, and they will give you all kind of information. You can ask them whatever question comes to your mind, and there is no pressure from them. Based on your decision only, you can whether decide to participate or not. Okay, and when it comes to having side effect, then definitely it is an experimental treatment, it will have some kind of side effect, but you can rest be assured that you are closely monitored, your safety is closely monitored, and all the potential side effect can be managed by the study investigator. Okay, so that is one of the disadvantages also. And when it comes to subject safety, then that is also one of the priorities. The next disadvantage would be the time commitment. Now, clinical trial often requires adherence to the study regime. You would have to take that medication at a certain point of time or a certain point of day. You will have to visit the clinical trial site every month as required by the study protocol. So, commitment of that time is one of the most significant factor. Now, you can ensure whether you are going to site for one visit, two visit, but visiting the site at every interval and having adherence is one of the most significant disadvantage, because that is a time commitment that you have to give whenever you participate in a clinical trial. Next thing would be the uncertain outcome. Now, there is no assurance whether the treatment that you are getting is a placebo or the experimental treatment. And whenever you participate in clinical trial, you expect to have improvement in your health, but that is not guaranteed. So you have to understand that you may also receive the placebo as a part of study design, and there is no guarantee whether you would receive a particular treatment and it would have significant impact on your health. So that is again one of the disadvantages of participation, and you have to understand that. Finally, the participant responsibility. Now, every responsibility is not with sponsor, the doctor, it is also with you. You have to ensure that you're behaving responsibly, agreeing for the close monitoring follow-up, the regular tests, the hospital visits. Okay, so you have to be thorough with them, you have to be honest, you have to comply by the clinical trial. Okay, and that can be a disadvantages if you're not that kind of person. Okay, so you have to understand that what are the risk versus benefit, what are the advantages versus disadvantages, and based on that you can decide to participate in clinical trial. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I was able to line out the advantages and disadvantages, and you would understand whenever you decide to participate in a clinical trial. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that we can bring you such amazing video and help to further your understanding of medicine and clinical trial. Thank you.